What's up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of the GASOCast. I'm your host, Michael Timmins, joined by Lyndon Cook. Quick little rapid-fire cast for you here today at our GASO Prep Showcase.
Yep.
Give me some of your thoughts. This is our last GASO of the season.
Dude, it feels so weird saying that.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of bright spots today with the prep side of things. We had a lot of high school events this fall, and we're still kind of wrapping that up with our evaluations and everything. But it was good to see these prep programs go head to head in a different kind of showcase for these guys.
Yeah.
And I think we have to start with Taka.
Okay.
Because we saw Darkon King.
North Alabama
commit, just recently. But man, when he's so polished on the offensive side, and the instinctive finishes, the over either shoulder work, the ability to put defenders off balance with just throwing his weight around in there and then elevating to finish. Really liked what I saw from him today. And I mean, the rest of that roster, they're just so tough.
Yeah, the one thing about Darkon is what I like with Coach Ani. He allows him some freedom. So he was hitting the three ball, he was catching the mid post, turning square and shooting it. You can see him playing with that confidence. And I know I talked to Ani. He's so excited for the kid going to North Alabama. Some other guys in that Taka team, Jay Spann. I mean, we saw them at our first GASO in Duncanville, but Jay Spann, he just does so much for them. Who was the kid? Dylan Hall.
Yeah.
The one thing is if you're going to come out and hoop in sweatpants, you got to get busy. You get the and 1-3, just another guard. I mean, Ani and Taka have a plethora of guards to really get going, and he was making a lot of things happen. So yeah, that Taka team, we talked a lot about him at our GASOcast after our Duncanville Fall GASO.
For sure.
But I mean, it's the same thing. You know what you're going to get, and they're going to bring it.
And they're just so tough. And Jay Spann especially today impressed me. He's just throwing his body left and right into people, flying all over the court for rebounds, and then getting and-ones, and then just battling. That dude is tough.
Another team that came out here, PSAT, out of Houston. They were almost the comeback kings of the day.
Yeah.
They played dynamic prep, came back, won that game, and then I had walked away when they were playing Taka, and they come back and make that a game. A big part of their success today and their good showing was TK Lawson.
Yeah.
Talk about him.
Dude, he can just, I mean, he's 6'5", and he gets downhill so easily.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's struggling. He is ripping past dudes and finishing through contact, finishing high off the glass. He's right there in that 25 area in our rankings, and I think, he's got a chance to continue to climb off of what we saw today because of that just dynamic finishing ability. He's everywhere on defense. Yep. He's really active in passing lanes. But both him and Mike Salaja, that kid, I mean, are we going to break out the on-camera, here you go again? Because
I think we are. I think we have to.
Yeah.
Hey, here we go. One thing I'll say is, if you're going to get a tech for hanging on the rim, you got to be a ball.
Do it like this. Yeah. Do it like this.
Probably 20% chance that's even the frame, but I'll put it on top of the video. But yeah, just one of those guards that gives them that change of pace for them, and wanted to pick up 94 feet, did all those things that you want in a guard, in a smaller guard, and finishing above the rim like he did was an added bonus.
Yeah, and then, I mean, he looks the part as their chief ball handler, the guy who kind of gets the offense where it needs to go. And then you talk about Deshaun Brody, you talk about Aiden Duran. These guys, there's just so many pieces on this team. TK was really good, Mike was really good, but there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team and a lot of prospects that are going to be recruitable at the next level.
And I think with them, even though they did lose to Taka, the fact that they were able to come back and make that a game, you feel good as a coaching staff.
Right.
Moving on to dynamic prep, Jaden Toombs, just one of those guys, super skilled. The footwork's there.
Yep.
He knows how to get to his spots, which I love. Dynamic did a good job of running some stuff for them to get him into that short corner, and he's able to do the quick spin move. The one thing I loved about him today, though, was he's in better shape, so that motor's even more nonstop.
Yeah.
And when he commits to wanting to crash the glass, there's not a lot of people that can box him out.
It's easy to say this kid's a grown man out there
Yeah.
because he's taller and bigger than everybody else. But when he moves like that, and you can tell that he's been in the weight room, that he's been working on his foot speed. Like, that's going to be a very, very dangerous guy for a long time if he continues to improve his physicality and speed.
Absolutely. What else do you like about the dynamic squad?
Jermaine O'Neal Jr. I mean, you can see the skill set is apparent to everybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's able to finish such a high variety of shots. Was really, really impressed with him from what I saw.
Him, Jalen Washington is just one of those point guards that's just, one of my favorites to watch. Balls on a string, puts so much pressure on defenders at all times. I was excited to see that dynamic team, and they're going to be one of those teams that's going to represent well
for sure
for Texas, as I think they're going to play a little bit more of a national schedule. Strength and motion out of San Antonio.
Yeah.
One of those programs when we look and be like, a lot of those kids have played in the GASO. And I'll start right away. Ethan Crowley, formerly from San Antonio Clark. We've always seen the footwork, and it's just one of those things where we see him in a setting maybe 2 years ago or a couple summers ago. Now you see that he's a little stronger, more physical,
for sure,
finishing above the rim, finishing through contact. He was very impressive to me.
Yeah. I gotta talk about a lot of these prep schools, you're looking more towards 24s, 25s, but there was a 27 for I-School. Lance Williams.
Yep.
Man, that kid has a chance to be a real player, and the pieces are there. It's just going to take a little more physicality, a little bit more, adjusting to the speed of a varsity level game, especially at this level that we're seeing. But his instincts on defense are great. He has length for days, and on offense, he's able to draw contact. He gets to the free throw line very often, and you can just tell with some of the passes he makes that this is a guy who is just very comfortable playing basketball at this speed.
Yeah. Speaking of high school, Braden Pitts, when I was watching, he shot a jumper, missed it. They got the offensive rebound, and they threw it right back to him. And just watching by myself in my thoughts, I was like, well, he just doesn't miss 2 in a row. And boy, was I right, because he was a straight catch. He's just one of those so super solid and consistent guys. And the way I-School likes to run and gun, he's perfect. I love his game more and more. And Jalen Lawal, the explosiveness. His explosive, like the baseline. He went baseline, dunked on a kid. When he has his mind made up what he wants to do with the ball, there's not a lot you can do. It's just a freak, man, and strong build body, and continues to get better in that lead guard position with its decision making.
For sure. Want to talk pace for a second because Jacoby Coleman. Everybody should know about him by now if you're in tune with what we do here. But another kid for them who really popped in front of both of us was Aeneas Alexander.
Yeah, because I watched him first, and I'm like, I like that kid. And then you watch the next game, and you're like, you're right. No, I watched him hit 2 threes. Then I also watched him in a possession, offensive rebound, tip the ball 4 or 5 times, and then save it out of bounds for another possession. And when you're looking at, and when we do a lot of the recruiting simplified with like Blue and Mass, a lot of the question is, how do we get on the radar? And something like that.
Exactly that.
As much as y'all know I'm a highlight guy, like that right there stood out. And when I'm evaluating, or when a college coach might be scouting you, after you see that, you're like, okay, let me see what else you can do.
Yeah.
But just effort right there was what stood out about a prospect I wasn't really familiar with. What did you like about him?
Not only is he got the size and the frame to make himself automatically, like college coaches like, who's this 11 kid? The finishing ability, like he was able to shot fake, put it on the floor, finish in a variety of ways. Really, that's what initially turned my head, was like, oh man, this guy just slipped past 2 defenders, Euro stepped and finished with his left going away from the basket. Like, that's tough.
Absolutely.
And so, that group, when you add in Jacoby Coleman, who got it going, as he tends to do in the second game that I watched.
And what I like about Jacoby is, one, there's always going to be a lot of cameras because he's a viral clip waiting to happen, but he doesn't chase those viral moments. He plays through the game. He's comfortable getting to his jump shot. He's just more sound, and a lot of those guys that are freak athletes are always trying to chase that big play, and sometimes that can leave them with an unproductive game.
Sure.
Who else?
Good vision with Cameron Woodbury and Didi Zanguin. I mean, both of those guys, very productive. Very, Cam is one of those kids where if he gets the slightest step on you, he's going to finish. And a lot of times he's going to finish above the help defender that comes over. And then Didi was very active, always good at showing his guard a target, always good at just having instinctively finding that gap where there's not a blockout where he can go crash and get a putback, and was really one of those guys who made a difference for Good Vision. Liked what I saw from him. And then you got to talk about another Houston area prep school with Empowering Others Prep.
Yep.
Because not only do they get off the bus with having two guys that are 6'10 plus, they got guards who are just so shifty and crafty, and they're fun to watch. And Raken Vargas is a guy who I've been pushing his name out there as much as I can since I saw him way back at our Houston tip-off in the first weekend of April. And man, he gets to his spots. He doesn't force it. He continues to feed the bigs, but also whenever the ball comes back to him and he's got his feet set, it's going in, because he's just one of those guys who just, you can tell he's got that maturity of, he understands how to play the game, and he's not going to go out there and shoot his team out. Even though he can make those shots, he's not going to be the guy who's going to go cold and cost his team a game because.
Absolutely. Now, there's a guy I want to talk about right here, but he's an alumni of my high school, so I feel like it's a homer pick. But anytime he's in the gym, he's liable to just go crazy.
Do you want me to just take it? Yeah, okay. Just the Judson Rocket thing is something. Sire Malvez. This guy is a dunk factory. And it's just, I hesitate to use the term moves different, but he moves different because everything is full speed. It's physical, it's bouncy, and as somebody who used to play in the post,
I thought you were about to say
no.
used to be explosive and bouncy.
Never. As somebody who used to play in the post, I'm glad I'm not out there, because I would end up on the wrong side of a poster with what he can do, just athletically.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. I guess I won't be a homer for that, but also I want to go back to strength and motion. Donovan Gomez, another Judson kid.
Yeah.
One of those guys that's uber talented, a bucket. And today what I loved about him was the progression I've seen is maturity. Mm-hmm. He's flying all over the court defensively, making plays, and his decision making, he's just playing more within himself, and he's always capable of, he had a nice little scoop layup. Yeah. He's always going to hit shots, but just I think his overall approach to the game really stood out for that strength and motion team.
Yeah.
And right now, who do we have playing all over right now? We have
big time in Honor Armor. I was down there for a little bit of that one.
Leadership and Universal right now. So Blue and Mass are going to have their Cup of Hoops segment coming out later this week, that they'll talk about them, because these teams are going on right now. Mm-hmm. But we were just excited to be in the game. We haven't seen a lot of these teams this weekend, so it was great to get out here, one-day event to finish our GASO.
Yeah.
But you'll have a newsletter. We'll have some more MVP picks coming up this week. But until then, we're going to be heading into the high school season with a lot more content, so we will talk to y'all then.